Jean Merilyn Simmons, OBE was a British actress. One of J. Arthur Rank's well-spoken young starlets, she appeared predominantly in films, beginning with those made in Great Britain during and after the Second World War, followed mainly by Hollywood films from 1950 onwards. Early life and career: Simmons was born in Lower Holloway, London to Charles Simmons and his wife, Winifred Simmons. Jean was the youngest of 4 children with siblings Edna, Harold and Lorna. She began acting at the age of 14. During the Second World War, the Simmons family was evacuated to Winscombe, Somerset. Her father, a physical education teacher, taught briefly at Sidcot School, and sometime during this period Simmons followed her elder sister onto the village stage and sang songs such as Daddy Wouldn't Buy Me a Bow Wow. Returning to London and just enrolled at the Aida Foster School of Dance, she was spotted by the director Val Guest, who cast her in the Margaret Lockwood vehicle Give Us the Moon. Small roles in several other films followed, including the high-profile Caesar and Cleopatra, produced by Gabriel Pascal. Pascal saw potential in Simmons and in 1945 he signed her to a 7-year contract. Prior to moving to Hollywood, she played the young Estella in David Lean's version of Great Expectations and Ophelia in Laurence Olivier's Hamlet, for which she received her first Oscar nomination. She played an Indian girl in the Powell Pressburger film Black Narcissus. It was the experience of working on Great Expectations that caused her to pursue an acting career more seriously. I thought acting was just a lark, meeting all those exciting movie stars, and getting £5 a day, which was lovely because we needed the money. But I figured I'd just go off and get married and have children like my mother. It was working with David Lean that convinced me to go on. Playing Ophelia to Olivier's Hamlet made her a star while still in her teens, although she was already well known for her work in other British films, including her first starring role in the film adaptation of Uncle Silas, and Black Narcissus. Olivier offered her the chance to work and study at the Bristol Old Vic, advising her to play anything they threw at her to get experience. She was under contract to the Rank organisation, who vetoed the idea. In 1949 Simmons starred with Stuart Granger in Adam and Evelyn. In 1950 she was voted the 4th most popular star in Britain. In 1951 Rank sold her contract to Howard Hughes, who then owned the RKO Pictures. In 1950 she married Stuart Granger, with whom she appeared in several films, and the transition to an American career began. She made 4 films for Hughes, including Angel Face, directed by Otto Preminger. According to David Thompson, if she had made only 1 film Angel Face she might now be spoken of with or given to Louise Brooks. A court case freed her from the contract with Hughes in 1952. In 1953 she starred alongside Spencer Tracy in The Actress, a film that was one of her personal favorites. Among the many films she appeared in during this period were The Robe, Young Bess, Da Copyright Sierra Copyright E, The Egyptian, Guys and Dolls, The Big Country, Elmer Gantry Spartacus, All the Way Home and The Happy Ending, for which she received her 2nd Oscar nomination. In the opinion of film critic Philip French, Home Before Dark saw her give perhaps her finest performance as a housewife driven into a breakdown in Mervyn Leroy's psychodrama. By the 1970s Simmons turned her focus to stage and television acting. She toured the United States and Stephen Sondheim's A Little Night Music, then took the show to London, and thus originated the role of Desira copyrightee Armfeldt in the West End. Performing in the show for 3 years, she said she never tired of Sondheim's music. No matter how tired or off you felt, the music would just pick you up. She portrayed Fiona Fee Cleary, the Cleary family matriarch, in the 1983 miniseries, The Thornbirds. She won an Emmy Award for her role. Indiana, 1985-86 she appeared in North and South, again playing the role of the family matriarch as Clarissa Main. In 1988 she starred in The Dawning with Anthony Hopkins and Hugh Grant, and in 1989 she appeared in a remake of Great Expectations, in which she played the role of Miss Havisham, Estella's adoptive mother. She made a late career appearance in the Star Trek: The Next Generation episode The Drumhead as a retired Starfleet admiral and hardened legal investigator who conducts a witch hunt. In 1991 she appeared in the short-lived revival of the 1960s daytime series Dark Shadows, in roles originally played by Joan Bennett. From 1994 until 1998 Simmons narrated the A&E documentary television series, Mysteries of the Bible. In 2004 Simmons voiced the lead role of Sophie in the English dub of Howl's Moving Castle. Personal life: Jean Simmons was married and divorced twice. She married Stuart Granger in Tucson, Arizona, on December 20, 1950. In 1956 she and Granger became U.S. citizens. They divorced in 1960. On November 1, 1960, she married director Richard Brooks. They divorced in 1977. Although both men were significantly older than Simmons, she denied she was looking for a father figure. Her father had died when she was just 16, but she said, "They were really nothing like my father at all. My father was a gentle, softly spoken man. My husbands were much noisier and much more opinionated. It's really nothing to do with the Gia. It's to do with what's theory the twinkle and sense of humor." And in a 1984 interview, given in Copenhagen at the time she was shooting the film Yellow Pages, she elaborated slightly on her marriages, stating, "It may be simplistic, but you could sum up my 2 marriages by saying that, when I wanted to be a wife, Jimmy would say, 'I just want you to be pretty.' And when I wanted to cook, Richard would say, 'Forget the cooking. You've been trained to act so act.' Most people thought I was helpless a clinger and a butterfly during my first marriage. It was Richard Brooks who saw what was wrong and tried to make me stand on my own 2 feet. I'd whine, 'I'm afraid.' And he'd say, 'Never be afraid to fail. Every time you get up in the morning, you are ahead.'" She had 2 daughters, Tracy Granger and Kate Brooks, one by each marriage their names bearing witness to Simmons' friendship with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Simmons moved to the East Coast in the late 1970s, briefly owning a home in New Milford, Connecticut. Later she returned to California, settling in Santa Monica, where she lived until her death. She died from lung cancer at her home on January 22, 2010, 9 days before her 81st birthday, surrounded by her family. Release: throughout her life Simmons spoke out publicly about her struggle with addiction, and in 2003 became the patron of the British drugs and human rights charity Release. She was an active supporter of their campaigns for just, humane and effective drug policies, recognizing that many of those with drug problems cannot afford the luxurious facilities available to celebrities. In 2005 she signed a petition to the British Prime Minister Tony Blair asking him not to upgrade cannabis from a Class C drug to a Class B, filmography, box office ranking. For a number of years, British film exhibitors voted her among the top 10 British stars at the box office via an annual poll in the Motion Picture Herald. 1949 a fourth, 1950 a second, 1951 a third. Awards and nominations, references. External links: John Simmons at the Internet Movie Database, John Simmons at Memory Alpha, John Simmons at the TCM Movie Database, the Gene Simmons Memorial YouTube page, Gene Simmons a fan resource, Gene Simmons 1946 newsreel footage from British Pathe, Gene Simmons in Motorboat Britles Pathe, obituary in the New York Times, in appreciation of Gene Simmons, photographs and literature.